If you're watching this, then that means that Saturn has finally left the dreamy and mystical and imaginative waters of Pisces, where it has been transiting since March of 2023, and it has finally moved into the bold and fiery and passionate and independent sign of Aries. And Saturn isn't the most comfortable in Pisces because it's a planet all about like boundaries and structures, and yet Pisces is that sign that's all about like, blurring boundaries and dissolving structures. And so it was a time of like spiritual maturation where we were kind of trying to figure out a way to like hold our shit together yet try and like go with the flow. And so it was a little uncomfy. And if you felt like out of time for a little bit, that may be why. Because Saturn is that planet that rules over time. And so, while in Pisces, time just feels a little bit weird. Kind of like we're just floating in the middle of the ocean. But it was definitely like a softer and more compassionate expression for Saturn that was deeply spiritual, but also on that same coin, also maybe like a little bit prone to escapism and like, blurring of boundaries, and definitely like slowed down momentum and like, maybe a bit like lower ambitions. But now as Saturn moves into Aries, it brings like this fiery and bold and brave and action-oriented energy to Saturn, because Aries is that sign that initiates action courageously. And so as Saturn moves from Pisces into Aries, it's kind of like it's moving us out of any excessive daydreaming or, dissociation or escapism or like, that fantasy world that we've created in our mind where we like, put on those rose-tinted glasses and pretend that everything's okay. It's moving us out of that and moving us into like initiating actually like, taking action in our lives. And so this could be a bit of a wake-up call or a call to action for you to actually start taking accountability for the role that you're playing in your life. But the gift of this transit is it really brings like this profound inner authority where it's like, you're the one who runs your life. And it gives us the strength to act on our instincts, even when it's not easy. And so as Saturn shifts into Aries, it's like our focus shifts to personal authority and personal accountability and personal responsibility and, leadership in our own lives again. And Saturn will be transiting Aries for the next like 2.5 years, so it's not like we have to learn all of these Saturn and Aries lessons like immediately, although there is like this sense of urgency because it is in Aries. But this is a transit where it's like discipline meets drive. So again, it's a time for taking action. Now I'm going to be honest here. So Saturn is also not the most comfortable in Aries because it's that planet that's all about these long-term goals. And so it's like, it's a marathoner, whereas Aries is the sprinter. So